Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Hello and welcome to Marketing Management, a VUCA perspective. We are discussing core concepts, and I am your friend and tour guide on this amazing and very fun, exhilarating journey, Siddhi Bhattacharyya. Now, we've been discussing a lot about marketing, about brands, and about the way things are done in the real world out there. It only stands to reason that we actually look into the case study of one of the most prolific, prominent brands the world over. So here we will walk into that space today and discover what a global powerhouse does when it comes to its exercises. In the words of Paul Polman, who is the ex-CEO of Unilever, we cannot choose between growth and sustainability. We must have both. We've spoken a lot about the true purposing that brands must actually follow. And yes, no prizes for guessing who the star of today's conversation is. It is the brand Unilever. So when it comes to the kind of purposing, it requires a certain amount of intellect and intelligence. And this creates a marked, and obviously when it translates out there into activities, it will give you a difference in the market as well. And that is precisely where brands which seek greatness must also do work that is great. And hence, all the activities, all the thinkings, all the interactions with consumers that Unilever does in the world out there is testament to that particular ability which the brand brings to the fore. And that is what we'll try and inspect today. The Branding Masterclass, Unilever India. So, Unilever's rural marketing revolution in Asia was pioneered across initiatives, and we have actually seen dramatic transformations in rural markets as well. So, here it led to sales increasing thrice to 4 times in targeted regions, and they have been able to create innovative distribution channels, provided economic opportunities to rural women, designed products specifically for low-income consumers, and built a sustainable growth model that combines business success with social impact. Their belief in this has been central to the success that they've been able to actually project. This representation shows how Unilever's rural marketing strategies have created new economic opportunities and expanded their market reach in regions which were traditionally overlooked by multinational corporations. The most successful initiatives, we'll see how they have given key learnings, and these can be applied in other emerging markets both in Asia and in places like LATAM where similar market conditions exist. So with a little bit of tweaking, the ideas which have found success here can be explained and run elsewhere. So the first thing we are looking at is the Shakti initiative, where women are looked at as rural sales agents. They are given recruitment and training, and local women are trained as door-to-door sales agents in rural areas. They are given a lot of empowerment through digitalization, smartphone apps exist, and their inventory management and business operations are handled out of it. This is at massive scale. There are over 74,000 sales agents serving nearly 167,000 Indian villages, and this was just by 2016. So the number keeps growing. And globally, these models have been adapted for Bangladesh, Vietnam, Sri Lanka, Egypt, now even in LATAM as well. The Shakti initiative represents Unilever's most successful rural marketing strategies and empowers women as micro entrepreneurs. And Hindustan Unilever Limited, which has created powerful distribution networks, it penetrates remote villages where traditional retail channels can't reach effectively. The impact of the Shakti program therefore is to create sustainable income, gives regular earnings for rural women and gives them more income opportunities because they don't have much. In terms of market penetration, it creates access to previously untapped rural markets and gets people to advocate for the brand because it transforms the sellers to passionate Unilever brand ambassadors. Socially also, it empowers the women and gives the status in communities a certain heft because they gain financial independence. They make money from the activity and that money actually helps in bettering the lives of theirs and their families. Pakistan has created Guddi Bajis, which are good sisters, which is a beauty program. There is a 3-month training program which they have executed where village women receive comprehensive beauty training including makeup application, hair care and a range of beauty services. The products and sales service provision of Guddi Bajis provides beauty services while selling Unilever products directly to customers. Now, in terms of the incentive structure, women price their own services, they earn their commissions and the product sales also help. And they collect points redeemable for salon equipment like tables, mirrors, etc., which they can then further utilize in their profession. Market potential is excellent because 4.5 million women across 5,000 Pakistani villages actually are able to implement this where beauty interest is high, but product access is extremely limited. So, both things come to their favor and Unilever elevated the Shakti concept by training women and they pose not just as sellers but even as beauty professionals. So, their role has also enhanced. They are not just salespeople anymore, they are empowered tradespeople. They have a craft which they actually bring to the population and through that craft they are also able to affect the sales. So, this approach creates deeper customer relationships through personalized services and generates higher incomes for the Guddi Bajis as they push through both product sales and they give their beauty services while at it. In the Philippines, there are Sari Sari stores and Fiesta marketing. The Sari Sari superstores have become larger stores which are recruited as sub-distributors in their localized areas and they offer special discounts on Unilever products. How does this help? There is improved distribution because smaller Sari Sari stores gain better access to prestigious Unilever brands which they can stock. Fiesta marketing is about 500 annual product demos with games and entertainments and it makes a certain festive atmosphere for this where 95% of Philippines' 1 million retail locations being small have Sari Sari variety shops and this accounts for 36% of the FMCG sales. Unilever creates a unique 2-tier distribution system. The Fiesta marketing approach combines Filipino cultural traditions and it includes product promotions and therefore it gives you featured brand sales increasing 30 to 80% during Fiesta weeks. Thailand also has Platinum Store as an experience. Here, urban shopping experience is enhanced. They bring premium retail experience to rural areas through specially designed stores with modern layouts and diverse product offerings. The partnership requirements here are participating stores must meet specific standards including high visibility displays for Unilever products. Additionally, what they can do is partner companies can bring banking services like ATMs to rural communities through Platinum stores. How they compete is that this initiative helps counter all sorts of competition which is coming into this place because these convenience chains like 7-Eleven are rapidly expanding in urban areas. So, the Platinum Store campaign demonstrates Unilever's responsiveness to changing consumer expectations in a rural Thailand, something which tells me that the VUCA hat has been worn because market realities are shifting and that is something the organization is prepared for. It creates a more sophisticated shopping environment and brings additional services like banking. Unilever has achieved sales growth rates which is 3 times higher than overall channel average. India has used a missed call mobile marketing system where the frugal innovation of leaving a missed call at a particular hotline number leverage the common practice of missed calls because in India people typically went for prepaid connections and they did not recharge it much because of the inability to put in money for phones. They used to leave missed calls and the other person typically would call them back. So here users hung up after 2 rings to avoid these charges. Here with the missed call, they could actually get free entertainment. This system automatically called back with comic dialogue from Bollywood star Salman Khan and active wheel detergent advertisements. The massive reach which was attained through this got 17 million calls in 4 months and it got through to India's poorest rural areas. The sales impact for this was the active wheel detergent sales increased by 300% in the targeted regions, and the missed call campaign demonstrates how understanding local consumer behaviors led to breakthrough marketing approaches because use of technology was brought into play, and because in these spaces there is limited electricity and mass media access as well. So therefore, the mobile-based solution effectively delivered branded entertainment while driving substantial sales growth. This was also a Cannes winning activity and it was called Kan Khajura. Kan Khajura is the name for the centipede, and centipedes typically can in rural areas burrow inside your ear. It gives you a bad taste, but because of it actually connecting with the ear and getting some news into it, that is how the name came about, and it twisted the name to give it a very positive appeal, also making it interesting at the same point in time and relatable to the audience. Now, they also moved towards the sachet revolution where small packages created a big impact. 28 billion was their annual sachet sales, where such sachets created were within the 2 to 3 rupee affordable price point, and it created instant 50% market expansion because now even the best of products was within reach. Here they achieved 300% sales growth, and that is the extent to which products were actually introduced in the sachet format. Now, Rexona deodorant found the same kind of success with the Philippines sachet strategy. Here the market challenge was only half of Filipinos regularly purchase deodorant due to the expensive standard packaging. Rural consumers, particularly price sensitive ones, did not do so even more because they had irregular income patterns. Now, the product innovation was to create a cream deodorant formula suitable for a single use packaging. These created sachets at significantly lower price points than traditional packaging. The market results were that it increased the rural market penetration dramatically for Rexona as a brand, and new consumers entered the category who previously couldn't afford deodorant because the small ticket size and the almost pay-per-use kind of format. In the case of rural immersion, you created a building brand manager's empathy into the system. So they created a role for village residencies because HUL managers needed to spend 1 month of their first year living in an Indian village. So this would actually immerse them into the lifestyle of village living and the realities of village life as well. Consumer insights would create deep understanding of rural lifestyles, challenges and aspirations. It would build relationships with personal connections between the managers and the communities that they served, and it created a mindset shift. It transformed the urban oriented thinking manager to a rural focused product developing manager in the case of the entire first year entry people in HUL. HUL's success in rural India is a mandatory village immersion program for new managers at the core, and by experiencing rural life directly, these managers develop genuine insights which can't be captured through traditional market research alone because there was empirical observation involved here. Now, in terms of the rural market opportunity, Asia has a lot to offer. There is a growth potential where about 2.3 billion rural consumers are spread across Asia and Africa, and this number has only grown. Increasingly, rural prosperity is coming about, and so there are growing incomes from government projects, migrant remittances and NGO initiatives, increasing their purchasing power parity. And with digital coming in, there is rising penetration of mobile phones, internet and satellite TV. In India, almost 100% electrification has been achieved. So, a lot of erstwhile problems have been fairly resolved. These have actually led rural customers to gain access to media and information as well, and now they are developing brand preferences and seeking aspirational products previously only available in the urban centers. So, Lifebuoy walked a Swasthya Chetna health program where they created a health education initiative. This was a 5-year program launched in 2002 across 8 Indian states. It had a massive outreach and aimed to educate 200 million people across rural and urban India. The idea was to make people aware of germs, and it focused on teaching how germs spread disease and how soap prevents the transmission. This was a public-private partnership, and they collaborated with government agencies and schools for wider impact. And they taught proper hand washing techniques and linked them to disease prevention, and HUL therefore created behavioral change and generated both social benefits and new customers in one fell swoop. Globally, their health pledge programs have expanded because with the success of the Lifebuoy Swasthya Chetna program in India, Unilever has expanded the pledge programs because it is about the organization pledging to support communities, support people in the rural hinterland, and this is something they have done globally. These initiatives combine public health education with brand promotion and increase both social impact and market development so that people have access to these safety products and they are able to use it with the education that is required in the category. And together, these campaigns have been particularly effective in countries where hand washing with soap was not yet an universal habit. This simultaneously addressed public health needs and created the product demand. It also had an allegorical impact on healthcare because the less number of people falling ill to diseases like cholera, dysentery and so forth because of the safe hand washing practices, which were a very, very basic offering, were reasons why the impact on expenses on healthcare were drastically reduced. And simple movements like these have created the ability for communities in rural and far-flung areas to be able to manage healthcare far better. At the core of sustainability is a certain amount of ethicality and empathy with consumers. This is again core with what Unilever's thought process has been throughout. Now, they have talked about responsible marketing, and this actually conforms with body image standards the world across. In 2007, Unilever implemented a policy against using size 0 models in advertising because it wanted to project a body positive imagery and acceptability in their communication towards people. By 2010, the BMI standards of 18.5 to 25 established for all models and actors in Unilever campaigns was something which was prevalent everywhere. By 2013, guidelines extended to include diverse representation beyond just body size. And by 2016, the policy review ensured that all brand directors and agencies must comply with healthy body image standards. Be healthy, but do not necessarily try and showcase a very lean or scrawny figure because of certain misguided fashion requirements. Since 2007, Unilever has maintained these strict standards of body image representation in the advertising that it pushes out, and these guidelines align with the World Health Organization benchmarks for a healthy BMI range of 18.5 to 25 and refusing to use underweight models, which is a fashion industry hankering. Unilever has taken a stand and it is promoting potentially healthy and realistic bodies instead of the other way around, because particularly in Asian markets this becomes important because they follow certain beauty standards and these emphasize extreme thinness, and this comes from the fashion industry at large, and that is what they wanted to actively push back against. Now, they've got a very responsible marketing charter. So, here they build trust through transparency. There is a commitment to building trust through responsible practices and transparent communication with consumers and stakeholders. The product safety and information aspects, ensuring these are safe and they provide clear information about their use and potential risks, is something which very assiduously is taken up by Unilever. Their ingredients are very clearly talked of, and it supports consumers' right to know product ingredients with transparent information about nutrition values and health properties, and they do this across channels. So, it's there on their product labels, on their websites, care lines, consumer leaflets. They communicate very clearly and openly with global consumers everywhere they are. This marketing charter reflects the commitment to ethical advertising standards. This is something which Unilever holds very close to its organizational morality, and by placing transparency and consumer rights at the center of their communication strategy, this company builds trust with increasingly conscious consumers, because education reaches them, and so therefore they are also aware of this. This approach has particular relevance in Asian markets, as rising education levels are creating more discerning and information seeking shoppers. Dove's campaign for real beauty. Now, this is one of the most iconic campaigns from Dove, where there are various facets to the larger approach in the campaign. There is authentic representation, which is one where you are featuring women with natural body types rather than professional models who reflect the diversity of real women's appearances, and it resonates with consumers also because they feel that they are reflected in the advertisements, and they expose beauty myths. So, educational content was put out revealing how digital manipulation creates unrealistic beauty standards in traditional advertising, and it also addressed the self-esteem which was dropping in youth through their programs. So, these educational initiatives helped young women develop a positive personal self-image and increase their self-confidence despite whatever pressure was there from peers which was affected because of media. So, this campaign for real beauty challenged conventional beauty stereotypes by featuring women of diverse appearances, ages, body types, etc. In India, skin lightening products and traditional beauty standards were very powerful influences. This campaign created meaningful conversations with authentic beauty while differentiating Dove from competitors that perpetuated limiting beauty ideals. Also, the product Fair and Lovely, the name was discontinued and now it's become Glow and Lovely. Again, removing the racial assertions which were there in the earlier product name. So, now it is more beauty centric, it is now more ingredient intensive, and it talks about having glowing radiant skin, which is a decent thing to have compared to the earlier promise of having fairer skin, which was extremely discriminatory. Omo Persil and in India Surf's Dirt is Good campaign. So, the campaign concept came as a reframing of dirt, which was earlier seen as a negative, but now was turned into a positive side of healthy child development rather than something which parents had to fear, because dirt is something when activity happens, it will fall upon you, it will get into your fingernails, your hair, your face as well as your clothing. And here when you are doing something, when you are grappling with a task and doing something which is going to have a fruitful outcome, you probably will get dirty, and as an essential part of learning, playing and growing up, it is to be expected. So, taking the fear out of having dirt on children is something which the campaign really pushed. There was a market impact. All this differentiated the brand from competitors and focused solely on cleaning performance. And it created an emotional connection with parents who wanted to support their children's development. Cultural relevance wise, it addressed the tension between desire for cleanliness and a recognition of a play importance in the life of a child and the role of parents for it. And it was particularly resonant in Asian markets where academic pressure can limit the playtime any which ways. You are supposed to study well so you can get better grades, so you can get better jobs, so you can get a better life and be more successful and be more accepted in society. The entire train journey is something which eats away the child's ability to be themselves and play more. So this dirt is good, and India it was called Daag Achhe Hain. For surf. So this campaign transforms a potential product negative where the need is to clean the dirt into a positive emotional message about childhood development and connecting the product to parents' deeper aspirations for their children's growth. The campaign also creates stronger brand loyalty than functional claims which could not achieve those alone. So this approach has proven particularly effective in Asian markets, and parental investment in child development is extremely high in these markets. Hence, parents have taken note and appreciated it as well. Flora and Beckel's health positioning is something also of note here. It has heart health benefits because it contains less saturated fat than butter for cardiovascular wellness. It also has nutritional value because essential nutrients can contribute to overall health. It has culinary versatility and it is suitable for multiple meal occasion cooking applications, and it has a taste satisfaction. It delivers flavor enjoyment without compromising on health benefits. Flora Beckel's positioning focuses on helping consumers manage their health without sacrificing enjoyment. The balanced approach resonates particularly well in Indian urban markets where the rising rates of heart disease are creating more health conscious consumers. By offering a practical solution that fits within existing dietary patterns, the brand makes health improvement accessible rather than restrictive. Now, Comfort One Rinse, which was to save water, was also something which they did very successfully. Now, traditional washing would have a very high index here, whereas standard fabric softener would also be twice as high as what Comfort One Rinse would actually provide in terms of water usage. So, Comfort One Rinse fabric conditioner addressed that critical environmental concern which is of water scarcity, very pertinent in India and the neighboring Asian countries, and it also delivered the product benefits nevertheless. So, requiring only one bucket of water for rinsing clothes instead of the traditional 3 buckets, the product offered a tangible sustainability benefit, and this positioning is particularly relevant in water stressed regions of India where women still wash clothes by hand and water collection is a significant daily task because they at times have to travel distances to gain that particular water for household use. So, they have created these 4 pillars of responsible advertising. First and foremost, legal compliance. Whatever they do, it will have to conform to the legality and the law of the land, adhering to all applicable advertising regulations and laws in each market, maintaining rigorous internal review processes to ensure that there is strict and utter compliance. The second part is they will stay decent. So, they will respect cultural sensitivities and social norms in all communications and avoid content that can be considered offensive or inappropriate. They will be honest in their claims, making only substantiated product claims which can be backed by evidence. Avoid any misleading statements and exaggerations about product benefits, and the truthful representation depicting products and their effects accurately and using authentic scenarios, not something which is make believe, and reflect real consumer experiences the most they can. So, Unilever ensures all its advertising meets that particular baseline of legal, decent, honest, truthful, and these 4 pillars form the foundation of their marketing ethics across brands and markets. The commitment to responsible advertising has helped them build longer consumer trust, and importantly in developing markets, consumer protection had regulations which may be less stringent. So, they have not decided to bypass or jimmy the particular system, but be truthful and honest to consumers. There have been lots of keys to rural success. You will see 2.3 billion population reached across Asia and Africa. The number also keeps growing. 74,000 Shakti entrepreneurs again growing in India. 167,000 villages covered, again growing over the Shakti network, and 300% sales growth, which again something which is the intended target for rural campaigns. Now, with these challenges in rural marketing, you have to understand the real lay of the land of what Unilever keeps dealing with. So, there are distribution channels at one particular level where you've got poor infra and remote locations which are nigh unreachable, and they increase the logistics complexity and costs. There is limited purchasing power given the earning capacity of these regions, and irregular incomes also require different kinds of pricing and packaging strategies. The media access constraints now bettering, but still limited electricity was a pain at some point in time, as was traditional media penetration. This required the alternative communication approaches which forced Unilever in a certain direction. Then there was retail fragmentation, because there were small informal shops with limited shelf space and minimal inventory management systems. Rural marketing in Asia therefore presents unique challenges and requires innovative solutions. Unilever has successfully addressed these obstacles through a combination of adapted products, alternative distribution models, creative communication approaches, and retail partnerships that meet rural market realities. These adaptations have transformed barriers into competitive advantages and created more barriers for competition overall. Driving growth in the rural areas, they have looked at agricultural productivity, where they have improved farming techniques and input technology, which has increased rural incomes. In terms of infra, they have created better roads, electricity and connectivity, reducing the isolation of villages. They have provided more reasons for digital access, with rising smartphone penetration creating new communication channels, and rising education improving the literacy and awareness and raising consumer aspirations. So, this is the entire rural scenario, the way it is shifting. These several positive trends are converging into rural market growth across Asia, and government infra is getting more and more complicated and sophisticated and more able to withstand the load it has to deliver, and agricultural modernization is also happening simultaneously. Mobile connectivity is far and wide, and improved education is creating more prosperous and connected rural communities. These consumers gain access to information and income, and their aspirations for branded products and improved quality of life is also increasing rapidly. In terms of consumer insights, rural consumers have brand aspirations. They desire for premium brands which are previously only urban availabilities. Then they also look at value, because they carefully evaluate the price to benefit ratio before their purchase, and their expectations of quality, like we spoke of, is on the rise and promises something which lasts longer. So, rural consumers are increasingly sophisticated in their purchasing decisions, and price sensitivity remains high due to limited incomes, and they are willing to pay more for products though, which they perceive as offering superior quality and durability. The value based purchasing approach means brands must clearly communicate tangible benefits rather than relying on emotional appeals alone. Sachet marketing has moved beyond FMCG. In financial services also, they have taken small value insurance policies and investment products, which is inspired by the FMCG sachet model. In telecom services, the Chota recharge, the small denomination mobile recharges we talked about, and data packages follow the sachet pricing approach. In healthcare also, single-use medical consultations and basic treatments are packaged as affordable sachetization of whatever is a service. So, the sachet revolution, which has been pioneered by Unilever, has inspired innovations beyond just FMCG, and making premium offerings accessible through small affordable units has been adopted by financial services, telecom, healthcare and education sectors. This approach has democratized access to services previously beyond the reach of lower income consumers. And then there is local adaptation, which is very powerful. Here there are local preferences where product formulations adapt to match regional preferences in fragrance, flavor and efficacy expectations. Packaging is designed with cultural sensitivity to local aesthetics and symbols. In terms of usage, Products adapted for different usage environments like hard water conditions and tropical humidity are also brought into play. The instructions given and the demos given tailor to local practices and facilities, and the communication style of marketing messages is crafted to resonate with local culture, values and aspirations. Celebs and spokespeople are selected with the ability to bring out that regional relevance and be credible with the audiences. So, while it has global brand platforms, Unilever has been successful because it has been able to adapt at the grassroots and the local levels. So, product communications are tailored to meet these specific regional needs and preferences, maintaining the core brand promises as they go along. This global approach balances efficiency of global scale with effectiveness of local relevance. How do you build distribution in such remote areas? You create regional hubs first and foremost, which will have centralized warehouses and distribute to the nearby surrounding rural areas. Vehicles are adapted with smaller size vehicles designed to navigate narrow, unpaved rural roads, and you create local partnerships with recruitment of local entrepreneurs, sub-distributors and sales agents to make things flow. How do you reach remote villages? Requires rethinking of traditional distribution. Unilever has created multi-tiered systems and combines centralized efficiency with local flexibility. They have established regional hubs and partnered with local entrepreneurs. The company has extended its reach far beyond traditional retail networks and ensured product availability and freshness is also not negotiated upon. The digital transformation has also hit rural marketing. So, mobile applications are there where custom apps for Shakti entrepreneurs are used to manage inventory, place orders and track sales. Cloud-based systems have real-time data synchronization, allowing better supply chain management. In terms of sales analytics, detailed regional performance is used to track and identify opportunities and challenges, and geolocation wise, you are using mapping tools for optimizing distribution routes and tracking market coverage. Keeping technology on its side has helped revolutionize Unilever's rural marketing approaches. The smartphone apps brings in Shakti entrepreneurs face to face with business management tools, and these were previously available only to formal retailers. Cloud-based inventory systems ensure product availability, while analytics help optimize the product mix. These digital solutions transform micro entrepreneurs into the sophisticated business operators of tomorrow. In terms of social impact of rural initiatives, you will see that household income, children's education, social status, financial independence, and business skills form the largest parts each. Unilever's rural marketing initiative creates significant positive social impacts beyond just business results. Shakti entrepreneurs have researched and found that improvements across multiple dimensions of well-being can be addressed. The income earned from other funds that raise children's education levels, home improvements and healthcare access are part of the entire offering. Women report enhanced social status and decision-making power within their families and communities thanks to these movements. In terms of training and capability building, there are a lot of offerings which has been made possible here. Basic business skills have been given by inventory management, sales techniques, basic accounting for rural entrepreneurs, product knowledge, where there is a lot of category education about product benefits and usage to enable effective customer recommendations has been sent out to the last mile learners. Digital literacy has been brought in through smartphone and app training, where you enable technology adoption for business operations. And then there's finally financial management, where you have a guidance on saving, reinvesting and growing a micro business sustainably. Comprehensive training programs from foundation of Unilever's rural marketing initiatives are doing the rounds. They invest in capacity and capability building. The company ensures sales agents can operate effectively while gaining valuable insights. These trainings just do not put out product knowledge, but actually include transferable business and technology skills, and these benefit entrepreneurs in all aspects in their life and work. When you're talking about risk management in rural operations, there is a seasonal variability which must be factored in, because you have to strategize for managing agricultural income fluctuations and how it affects consumer spending. Inventory wise, planning around monsoon seasons when transportation becomes difficult is critically important. Similarly, infrastructure wise, backup distribution systems for when roads become impossible is important. So is alternative power sources for areas with unreliable electricity. When it comes to financial management, you have to provide flexible credit terms for rural retainers along with agricultural income cycles. And then finally, there is cash handling procedures in areas with limited banking access, because the product security needs to take into consideration anti-counterfeiting measures and protect the brand integrity higher in remote areas, because this is the chance where counterfeit currency can actually come into play, because there is a lot of cash dealing. Then storage solutions need to be brought in where you maintain product quality in challenging conditions. Rural markets have unique risks which require specialized management approaches, and therefore Unilever's robust systems take care of addressing these challenges, ranging from seasonal weather to infrastructural limitations which people undergo. And by anticipating and planning for these risks, the company maintains consistent rural market presence for even during challenging periods. So, this all exercise is something where you are aware of what is happening around you and keeps you on top of things. The VUCA mindset is automatically projected here for marketers. Next, we have to be sure about the cultural sensitivity in the marketing. So, here local research becomes increasingly important. Deep ethnographic studies to understand cultural nuances help brand managers to understand what to do, how to do and what to avoid. And then the diverse teams which local talent involved in marketing development actually can provide. And then there is community feedback, but because you sit and test concepts with local consumers before you launch, and continuously you adapt to the market, because redefining approaches based on market response is critically important, so that the next steps are clearly defined and brands can create the path forward from there. Unilever employs this rigorous process to ensure marketing messages respect local customs and values and include extensive ethnographic research, diverse creative teams, community-based testing and willingness to adapt based on feedback. The thoughtful approach prevents these missteps while bundling authentic connections. So, it is a two-way street for consumers to benefit from Unilever. Now, what is the future of rural marketing in India? Because sustainable practices become that much more important. Sachets once put out will need to be recycled. So, initiatives to collect single-use packaging dominates rural sales. Water efficient products need to be put out, because water scarcity is a real challenge compared to other places. Then you've got solar powered solutions, because distribution and retail models which are incorporating renewable energy for areas with electricity is something which brands and consumers can interact upon. And agriculturally, you partner with farmers so that the programs which are helping farmers adopt sustainable practices while becoming Unilever suppliers is something the expectation which is there from all the brands. New initiatives focus on reducing the environmental footprint really of packaging, developing water efficient products and creating closed loop systems before they turn that into waste. Now, how do you leverage technology for rural engagement? You create interactive packaging, QR codes, NFC and linking physical products to digital experiences. The ability of the brand is to create the usage tutorials and entertainment which can give consumers the ability to understand about the product better. They can also create immersive experiences where VR and AR actually through demos can bring urban retail experiences to village markets. Also, user generated content is extremely important because platforms which enable rural consumers sharing their product experiences and reviews through voice and video adds a lot more to the original brand conversation. Here, leveraging consumers' increasing comfort with digital looks, the approaches enhance product education and build stronger social and emotional connections with brands. In terms of metrics, you will see market penetration at a very nominal curve at the highest. Then you will see repeat purchase rates always increasing, and finally, as a reflection, you will also see the share of wallet also at an upward climb. Now, measuring rural market effectiveness requires specialized metrics beyond traditional urban models. So, now Unilever tracks market penetration, which is a percentage of households, repeat purchase rates, and a share of wallet over time. These metrics help assess both short-term sales impact and long-term market development process across different stage of the rural consumer journey. Now, when we are talking about public-private partnerships, they have done a lot in various countries. Government collaboration is important, where ministries of health, education and rural development actually are used to extend the program. Next part is educational integration, where programs integrated with school curricula and healthy worker training is also brought into play. NGO alliances also create collaboration with the development organizations and implement support and credibility to the entire movement. And then very clearly there is impact measurement, where joint evaluation frameworks to assess both business and social outcomes need to be brought into play. So, Unilever's rural initiatives frequently involve these public-private partnerships and amplify impact while sharing the costs also, and they align with government priorities in areas like health, economic development and women's empowerment, and these programs gain institutional support and wider reach. They also are part of the UN SDG assessment part, where they look at the sustainable development goals. So, these partnerships also enhance brand reputation because of the work being done, and they associate Unilever with trusted public institutions because they align pretty well. Now, microfinance as a particular space has been looked at very extensively, and here you will see startup capital has been dished out, where microloans given initial inventory for new Shakti entrepreneurs in India. Now, you have got structured repayment schedules aligned with the sales cycle. In terms of banking access, there is support to open bank accounts for previously unbanked rural women and digital payment systems reducing cash handling risks. So, in terms of financial education also, there is training on basic financial literacy and business management, and savings programs encouraging reinvestment and growth have also been dished out. Now, entrepreneurs establish successful sales records and they build credit histories that are there to enable larger loans for business expansion, and this is an ongoing cycle as more and more expansions keeps happening. So, when you are talking about rural consumers and their journey mapping, you will have to understand the complete rural consumer journey, and which is essential to understand because that will help you market effectively. Unilever conducts extensive ethnographic research, understands how people interact and what their activities are, the usages, attributes, etc. And they map this journey from awareness through purchase, usage and finally to disposal. This research reveals unique aspects of rural consumption patterns, such as the importance of packaging reuse, product sharing among households and the influence of community opinion leaders, because they can swing the entire conversation in a very different direction. The scaling is successful of rural marketing models because they have got standardized toolkits which provide a base level of offering everywhere, where you get adaptable frameworks, training materials, and metrics. In cross market teams, you will see collaboration between countries which are implementing similar programs, and learnings can be shared from one market to the other. And at the Global Excellence Center, you will see centralized knowledge which is provided through a hub for documenting the best practices overall. Now, here there are key learnings which will actually showcase the future of rural marketing for us. There are inclusive business models, so creating economic opportunities within the distribution chain delivers both business growth and social impact for the brand. Digital first approaches, because that's where the world is headed, leveraging mobile technology and overcoming infrastructural limitations will define next generation rural marketing. In terms of adaptive innovation, by localizing products, pricing and communication for rural contexts rather than simply downscaling urban approaches, you can have adaptive innovation and sustainably integrate this with the environment and sustainability, and make the rural marketing models successful from the beginning itself, rather than they coming across more as an afterthought. So, Unilever has done pioneering work in rural marketing, and it demonstrates the commercial success and positive social impact which can be achieved simultaneously. As rural consumers gain increased positivity and prosperity, the companies that have built trusted relationships through respectful engagement will be positioned to grow alongside these emerging markets. And there is a certain kinship which consumers have to certain brands which are in the public space and helping them to come up in a proper way. So, therefore, the future of rural marketing lies in digital enabled inclusive business models, and these create value for all stakeholders at an overarching level. So, with that, we come to the end of this conversation, and in the next series, we will look at how price is important in pegging a brand and product in consumers' minds, and what is the psychology, how do people respond to a stimulus which is so clear upfront and in your face as price. So, with that, I will see you next time. Until then.
Hello, I am A.K. Sharma and I teach sociology in IIT Kanpur. You may ask, how do sociologists view religion? Religion is becoming an important issue for our society. Now, sociologists, this is true that sociologists explain one thing in terms of other things of society. So, religion, if you ask sociologists to explain religion, they will explain religion in terms of other things of society like education, economic development. In sociology of religion, there are two major traditions actually. In one tradition, to use language of methodology, in one tradition religion is a dependent variable, in another tradition religion is an independent variable. What I mean is that in the view of Karl Marx, who said that religion is the opium of the working class, religion is closely associated with contradictions or relations of class in society. Marx believed that as time passes, societies evolve And this evolution of society is dialectical, like from a classless society to a class society, class formation, and eventually again a classless society will emerge. Karl Marx believed that laws of human behavior or laws of society are specific to stage of development of society and are closely associated with mode of production or tools and techniques of production and ownership of tools and techniques of production. To Karl Marx, who think that a modern society is a capitalist society, religion is the dependent variable which needs to be explained in terms of class relations. And when he says that religion is the opium of the working class, it means that religion is used by the powerful class, the class which owns the means of production, to legitimize their class position or to confuse the workers. Let the workers think that if they are poor, if they are exploited, and if they suffer from various kinds of problems, it is because of their fate or their deeds in the previous births, and not develop the revolutionary consciousness to analyze the real causes of their poverty or exploitation or ill health. This is one view, and religion is the dependent variable, which also means that tomorrow in socialist society or in communist society, if it ever emerges and society becomes classless once again, religion may not exist. Now, according to another view, Max Weber, religion is actually the independent variable that explains emergence of something else, and that something else is the emergence of capitalism. Max Weber said that unlike in the Hindu countries or the Muslim countries or Christian countries where influence of Catholic Christianity was rampant, capitalism as we understand by capitalist institutions, capitalism could not have developed. It does not mean that people, Hindus or Muslims or Catholic Christians, they were not acquisitive in nature, but there was a difference between them and those influenced by Protestant ethics in certain countries of Western Europe. And the difference was that these people did not use what they earned from their enterprises for comforts or for saving or for security or for status or prestige, but whatever they earned from their enterprise, they further invested this in the enterprise itself, and they lived simple life. By living simple life and spending the earnings back in the enterprise leads to emergence of capitalism in Western Europe. Here you see that religion is the cause. So, at some point of time, some philosopher, his name was Calvin, who gave a new turn to Christianity and propounded the philosophy of a new philosophy of Protestantism, also called Puritanism, the theory of predestination, which created anxiety in people's mind to know whether they are elect or not, whether after their death they will go to hell or heaven. So, this reinvesting in enterprise and not using the profits for their own gains or for their own comforts, this produce capitalist society or industrialization, in simple language industrialization, or this produce economic development first in the countries of Northwest Europe. And another issue which sociology tackles with regard to religion is whether we are secularizing. Now, it has been found that in the Western countries with urbanization, economic development, industrialization, education, democracy, there is a fall in religiosity. But in our country, secularization is defined in a different way, because we are a plural society, and for thousands of years all religions have been juxtaposed in our country. So, we define secularization as a process in which state maintains equal distance from all the religions, but does not become irreligious state. So, but this kind of definition or this approach of state obviously is going to raise new issues, new social problems and religious issues, other issues, but this is what it is. So, sociologists of religion will also study this process of tensions in the process of secularization in a plural country like India. Thank you.